homelessness in New York has surged to its highest point since the Great Depression of the 1930s, with over 350,000 people estimated to be without a permanent place to stay as of August 2024. Each night, about 132,000 individuals sleep in shelters, while thousands more find refuge on public streets or rely on the generosity of others by staying in someone else's home. Over the past 2 decades, the number of homeless people in New York has soared by 175%. There was a brief 25% decline during the pandemic, thanks to eviction moratoriums and emergency rental assistance programs, but the issue has since rebounded. Families make up a staggering 71% of those in shelters, including almost 46,000 children, a striking reflection of the depth of the crisis in one of the world's wealthiest cities. The ever-widening economic gap has exacerbated conditions, leaving many residents struggling to make ends meet. In this video, I will break down the 10 cities across New York State with the highest levels of homelessness. Syracuse, although a major city in New York State, has the smallest homeless population on this list, with approximately 25 to 30 individuals sleeping either on the streets or in shelters every night. Even with such low numbers, homelessness in Syracuse remains a cause for concern, driven by local economic decline and a lack of affordable housing options. A surprising statistic is that many of the city's homeless are military veterans, reflecting the difficulties some veterans face when reintegrating into civilian life. Local authorities have implemented several strategies, including the Housing First and From Da What initiative, which provides immediate housing without preconditions. However, limited funding and resources have hampered progress. Compared to other cities on this list, Syracuse runs smaller-scale assistance programs, but the local community shows a strong commitment to supporting those in need. As the smallest of New York City's 5 boroughs, Staten Island might seem like an unlikely place to face a homelessness crisis. Yet, with 216 people experiencing homelessness, it's clear that the issue remains significant. The borough's lower population density can make homelessness less visible, but the need for support is no less urgent. In recent years, Staten Island has taken steps to address the problem by opening 3 new shelters that had been in the planning stages for years. Located on Van Duzer Street, Highland Boulevard, and Tompkins Avenue, these facilities offer various levels of support. The shelter on Van Duzer Street can house 200 families, or around 500 people, while the others provide accommodations for 50 women and 100 individuals respectively. Additionally, a nonprofit called People's Path plays an important role in providing essential services for the homeless on Staten Island, helping to bridge gaps where government resources fall short. Albany, the capital of New York State, is known for its rich history, iconic architecture like the New York State Capitol, and its reputation as a hub of government and higher education. However, despite its image as a center of innovation and progress, Albany struggles with an alarmingly high rate of homelessness, with around 750 individuals lacking stable housing. The rising cost of living and a shortage of affordable housing are key drivers of the crisis, creating a stark contrast between the city's economic ambitions and the social challenges faced by many of its residents. This tension highlights the widening gap between progress and poverty in the capital city. To combat the growing crisis, the Albany government introduced the Albany Project Hope, which aims to provide quick interventions for those experiencing homelessness. However, like many social programs, it often faces budgetary constraints that limit its impact. When compared to other cities in the region, Albany's homeless population is disproportionately high for a city of its size, particularly when set against smaller cities like Syracuse. Rochester, once a beacon of industrial and academic innovation, home to companies like Kodak and the University of Rochester, now faces a serious homelessness crisis. Approximately 803 people in the city currently lack stable housing, underscoring the growing gap between Rochester's achievements and its social challenges. In recent months, homeless encampments in the area have become hotspots for safety issues, with incidents such as fires threatening nearby residents. Although local authorities have attempted to relocate those affected into shelters, many initiatives have faltered due to funding shortages and poor management. One example is the dismantling of Peace Village, a prominent encampment, which was shut down without a clear plan to provide alternative accommodations, forcing many residents back onto the streets. Brooklyn, known for its cultural landmarks like the Brooklyn Bridge and Prospect Park, along with its diverse neighborhoods, is currently home to around 1,157 homeless individuals. A growing number of low-income residents are being forced out of their homes due to rising living costs, driving up homelessness in this iconic borough. Many of those living on the streets are employed in low-wage jobs, but their earnings are insufficient to cover rent in an increasingly expensive housing market. Despite efforts by local authorities to increase affordable housing, gentrification and high property values have made it difficult to keep pace with the demand. Social tensions are rising, especially in areas like Bensonhurst, where protests have erupted over the location of new homeless shelters. Some residents express concern about how these shelters might impact their communities. In Sunset Park, small business owners have reported growing issues, including the presence of discarded needles and makeshift tents set up along the streets. These developments highlight the disconnect between Brooklyn's economic progress and the stark reality of homelessness affecting many of its residents. Queens, often celebrated for its rich cultural diversity and immigrant communities, is facing an escalating homelessness crisis, with 1,219 individuals currently without homes. Despite being one of the more affluent areas of New York City, the borough's skyrocketing rent prices have pushed many working-class individuals onto the streets. Alarmingly, many of Queens' homeless population are employed, but their wages are not enough to keep up with the high cost of living. While transitional housing programs and rental assistance are in place, these efforts fall short of meeting the growing need. Community districts 1 and 12 house the majority of migrant shelters, leading to concerns among residents about the rapid placement of homeless facilities in their neighborhoods. One controversial case is the conversion of the Wyndham Garden Hotel in Rego Park into a shelter, which has caused friction with locals who feel excluded from the decision-making process. Additionally, Jamaica Station has become a frequent overnight refuge for homeless individuals, creating discomfort for daily commuters. These challenges reflect the ongoing struggle to balance compassion with practical solutions in Queens. Buffalo, the second-largest city in New York State and renowned for its industrial past and proximity to Niagara Falls, is grappling with a homelessness crisis that has affected 1,432 people. The decline of the manufacturing sector, combined with high unemployment rates and deteriorating housing, has left many residents without stable accommodations. Buffalo's harsh winter weather exacerbates the situation as the homeless population swells with seasonal cases during the colder months. Emergency shelters often reach capacity, leaving many with no choice but to brave the elements. Efforts to address the crisis, such as clearing homeless encampments in the downtown area, have proven ineffective. Displaced individuals frequently return to the streets, highlighting the lack of sustainable housing options and shelter space. Buffalo's struggle with homelessness reflects a broader issue across upstate New York, where economic downturns, coupled with insufficient social safety nets, leave many residents vulnerable. The Bronx, known for having the highest poverty rate in New York City, also struggles with one of the largest homeless populations, totaling around 1,458 individuals. This paradox is stark. While the Bronx is celebrated as a cultural hub, credited as the birthplace of hip-hop and home to the first hip-hop museum, it also serves as a symbol of a deepening housing crisis. Generational homelessness is an alarming trend here, with many homeless individuals being children of parents who also experienced homelessness, perpetuating a vicious cycle of displacement. Although the Bronx has more shelters than any other borough in the city, these facilities are often overcrowded and struggle to keep up with the growing demand. Homeless encampments regularly appear in public spaces like parks and sidewalks, posing challenges for nearby businesses. Despite government efforts to relocate the homeless into shelters, the solutions have proven inadequate. As quickly as camps are cleared, new ones emerge, underscoring the ongoing struggle to address homelessness effectively in this borough. Manhattan, the financial and cultural heart of New York City, famous for landmarks like Times Square and towering skyscrapers, is also home to one of the most visible homeless populations. More than 4,000 people are without homes here, a stark reminder of the deep socioeconomic divide within a borough of 1.6 million residents. Homeless individuals are often seen in public spaces such as subway stations, parks, and street corners, drawing attention to the city's struggle to address the crisis effectively. In an attempt to control the situation, the city conducts regular sweeps to clear the streets of encampments. However, these measures are more cosmetic than structural, offering only temporary relief, while leaving the core issue unresolved. One of the most striking examples is the tunnel near the Hudson River in Upper Manhattan, which has become an underground shantytown filled with trash and human waste. Several individuals have set up makeshift shelters with mattresses and sheets, turning the space into a semi-permanent settlement. Frustrated residents complain about blocked sidewalks and foul conditions, often changing their routes just to avoid these areas. Despite repeated cleanup efforts, the homeless return, demonstrating the city's inability to provide lasting solutions. At the top of the list is New York City itself. With a homeless population of about 4,140 individuals sleeping on the streets, in parks, or on the subway every night. Although New York operates the largest homelessness response program in the nation, the problem continues to worsen due to soaring living costs and widening economic inequality. Even as authorities clear encampments from high-profile business districts and tourist areas, many homeless individuals soon return to the streets, making the cycle difficult to break. City shelters are also overwhelmed, with over 150,000 people currently relying on the shelter system for housing, while the city has tried to replace encampments with more permanent housing. Such efforts often face resistance from residents, especially in wealthier neighborhoods that oppose the construction of shelters near their homes. This opposition complicates efforts to build much-needed housing solutions, leaving thousands with no safe place to go. Adding to the complexity is the issue of mole people, an elusive group of individuals estimated to number anywhere between 5,000 and 25,000. These individuals live hidden within the city's labyrinth of subway tunnels and utility corridors, creating small underground communities far from the public eye. Some reside in extremely dangerous areas, such as near live electrical tracks, underscoring the precariousness of their situation. The existence of these underground dwellers symbolizes not only the physical displacement of the homeless, but also the social invisibility that keeps them on the margins of society.